What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Now, today on the table in front of us, we have a new knife to the channel. It's been out for a little while, but I am super excited about it. This is the WE Knives Malice, designed by Ferrum Forge, and it is very, very good. It is a very straightforward, in many ways, pocket knife, considering some of the stuff that the guys over at Ferrum Forge design. But in that, it is just spectacular. It has a full body backspacer. The titanium is milled beautifully. It is M390, and WE does a good job with their M390. It has a marvelously useful choil. It is very, very comfortable. It is beautiful to look at. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a fan. I have a bunch of the Ferrum Forge knives that they've done through WE and Drop, which used to be Master Drop. But this is my first large Ferrum Forge design through WE, and I am, well, very, very happy. It's very good. The action is, well, this is going to be one of those knives that I compare other knives against for the action. It is absolutely spectacular. It has a little bit of funk to it, as you can see. There are bidirectional grinds. The blade is satin. There are grind lines on the flats, and here in the hole in the blade, there are these unique speed holes, which a lot of people don't like. But since I'm not out skinning critters with this, I'm not that worried about it. If anything builds up in there, I will just take it out. It is running on ceramic bearings, and it is running very smoothly on ceramic bearings. I've done nothing to this except take it out of the box. It is really very good. Yeah, as you can see, there is almost no branding on the blade at all. The only thing you get is the Ferrum Forge logo right there. It is very clean. The overall build is very, very clean. There are only 2 visible screws. On this side, of course, there's an extra one for the pocket clip and the pivot. You can middle finger flick this thing like crazy thanks to this hole through. God, this thing is good. It is very slicey because of how tall the blade is. I'm kind of into that. I like blades where they start with good thick stock, but then make the blade big enough, tall enough, that they've got lots of room to drop out for a very thin slicing edge. And they have. The tip is, I wouldn't call it fragile, but you're not going to want to pry with this. Of course, you don't want to pry with any of your knives anyway. Let's take a look at the size and see what we are dealing with here. From the line that I start with, we have 1, 2, 3 even cutting surface, 3.5 inches of M390. The overall knife is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a little tiny bit, 8 1/8 maybe overall. The grip on this is, okay, now look, again, I've got big hands, and I admit that. But for me, this thing is absolutely stellar. Now, I think I've talked about this on the channel before. Knives that leave the handle essentially a rectangle, but mill it so that it's comfortable in the corners, inevitably end up being some of my favorites because they fill the hand so beautifully. For push cuts from back here, there's no wiggle at all. If you use the choil, and you really want to lean into it, it is absolutely great that way. And because of the shape of the blade, you can do draw cuts with the belly or even the very tip very effectively. And because of the shape of this knife, it's very pointy. If gas station fights are your thing, this is going to serve you, but I don't recommend it. There are better tools for that. Man, this thing is pretty. The pocket clip is nice. It's not totally deep carry, but you get very little knife sticking up. As you can see, just a little hint of a knife sticking up out of the top, which is fine. It is a little tight, but that's okay. It's got good space on the inside here. So once you do get it past that point, the ramp is very good in both directions, so it pulls it out of the pocket very nicely, even though it is a little tight. I think this is frankly one of the best WEs I've ever had. I've had a lot of WE knives, and this with the black screws and the silver and black pivot, black on this side, this knife is just beautiful from any angle and for any purpose. Now, people are going to say, oh, it's not a hard use knife. No, it's not. It is a harder use knife because of its size, but as far as I'm concerned, this is just functional art. Now, I must confess, I know that the choil is a big ferrum forged thing. On this knife, with this nice clean plunge, I almost wish they'd make a version without. Give us that extra, half inch of blade that runs right back here to the plunge grinder just a little before with just a little sharpening choil. I think that it would have taken some of the style out of the knife, but I think it would have been really good just the same. So, that's my thoughts, all 2 or 3 of them. We know I don't have many. On the wee Malice that I picked up at Blade Show West. I think this is one of the best knives they've ever made. God, that backspacer is beautiful. Well, what do you think? Have you had one of these? Are you interested in getting one of these? Do you care at all about this kind of a knife? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Sorry about the apparently drill that's going on outside. I don't know. But anyway, if you have any thoughts about this knife, feel free to share down in the comments below. If you have any comments about any of the things you've seen on my channel, please ask me down in the comments. Feel free to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.